Hello everyone, how are you guys doing on this lovely weekend? In this video, I'm going to try and have it uploaded before I leave. I have a work trip coming up, and I'll be back later in this following week. And I know I'm a little late on this, but I recently finished Clair Obscur Expedition 33 as of about 2 weeks ago, and I've been contemplating what I want to do to talk about it, because I do want to talk about it, but it's always so tricky talking about games like this because you really want to stay as vague as you possibly can, in my opinion, because I don't want to rob anyone of any experience from this game, especially the narrative, because it is just incredible to experience. So this is going to be my hodgepodge together review of really just me rambling on about my experience with Clair Obscur Expedition 33 and why it is so far my game of the year. Firstly, I want to talk about the overall narrative for this game and how impactful it is. It is a very gripping and engaging story that is filled with twists and turns that you just do not see coming. You are constantly questioning what is going to happen next. You know, I have not played a game where I want to witness everyone's reactions to the same thing that I just played so much, because I'm so curious how everyone else puts these pieces together. So many moments in this game that just make you want to put the controller down and just contemplate what just happened and what you just saw. So many emotional moments, so many tragic moments, so many heartfelt moments. It is just a masterpiece when it comes to storytelling. It tells a very interesting story up from the beginning all the way to the very end. I was hooked. I mean, I literally was that much engaged. It really had me thinking, like, on drives to work or just walking around the house, just contemplating and thinking, what does this mean? Who is this? Why was this introduced? What is going on with this? Constantly. And I feel like a lot of people think the same thing, because it does an incredible job of showing you something and it leaves you scratching your head like, what? Like, very much like, my perfect example of this is in the intro, the demo for Final Fantasy 16, beginning to Final Fantasy 16. It kind of, it does the same thing, what really sets something up where you're like, wait, what? Spoilers for Final Fantasy 16, but a lot of people were like, is Clive Ifrit? What's going on with this? Is Joshua still alive? Like, wait, what? You're just kind of like, it's so think of that times like 10 and just all the way through the entire, it just elevates throughout the story from act 1 all the way to the very end. You're like, oh. And then lastly, for the narrative, towards the end, it is just a wave of emotions in terms of dealing with grief, loss, how to move on, how to let go, how to not be selfish and indulge in something that you shouldn't be, and moving on like any adult should do. But it's hard because you want to make that selfish decision to, I can't really say anything without spoiling it, but there's a very integral moment at the end that really makes you think, and I chose something at the end, and I kind of contemplated on why and what that meant. And I'm very excited on my New Game Plus playthrough to experience the other side of that and see what that's like, because I know that I'm not gonna say anything more about the story. I just can't without spoiling. The combat in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is also something that is just incredibly stellar, and Sandfall Interactive completely knocked it out of the park with this. It is a reactive turn-based combat system, essentially, where think of kind of like Legend of Dragoon, think of Lost Odyssey, think of, classic Final Fantasy, all kind of mixed into one, and this game does it so well. You have the starting abilities of parrying and dodging. As the game evolves, so does this. So you have other options that come into your arsenal in terms of how you want to evade, how you want to parry, how you want to counteract some enemy attacks, which I won't say because it's spoilers on how that evolves. but it just tells you that, yes, that core concept of the combat does evolve throughout the game and makes it so much better. And along with that, you do have the traditional like skill tree system, and you use this to just unlock new skills as the game progresses. And I really like what they did with this because it's very bare bones. It really reminded me of Dragon Quest, where it's super cut and dry. Really, really cut and dry overall. You level up, you have AP, which are ability points essentially, and what those allow you to do is to do certain abilities within the game. So if you have an ability that requires 7 AP, you need to stack 7 AP to perform that ability. You can also use a ranged weapon or a ranged attack. Every time you use that ranged attack, it uses 1 AP. So with that in mind, you level up, you have AP to use your abilities, and you gain new abilities with ability points, and that is it. That is pretty much it. There are Pictos, and this is very similar to Final Fantasy IX. Essentially what the Pictos are is they grant you additional abilities or buffs, whatever it may be. The more you use that Picto, you then gain it as a permanent ability that can become permanent once you equip it with Lumina points. So if you have a ability that is 5 Lumina points, you need 5 Lumina points to unlock it permanently without it being equipped. And there are some crazy Pictos in this game that are just almost game-breaking. Needless to say, the combat is just perfect. It is like, I'm a huge JRPG fan, and it somehow made me like even more obsessed with the genre and its combat. And it just, like, right after I finished it, I was like, I need to play more JRPGs right now. And I'm going to eventually obtain the platinum, but it's just that good. It feels so satisfying when you parry an enemy's attack or when you do a perfect dodge. Even just like how the QTEs feel when you... I mean, they're very simple QTEs during combat, but it just feels so precise and fluid and just feels so good to pull off. It is... I can go on and on about the combat. I really, really can. It is that good. The next thing I got to talk about, which I feel like is definitely, been making the rounds in terms of discourse about this game, is its incredible soundtrack. It is a beautiful soundtrack that I have been listening to on repeat since the game has been out. Also, shout out to Ben Starr for singing in one of the songs on the soundtrack, and it's actually one of my favorite songs on the entire soundtrack. It's so beautiful. It is so captivating and just engrosses you into the overworld, or any area you're in. You just feel so engrossed, and the music is just what really sets the tone. I mean, the setting is beautiful. Visually, this game is beautiful. It is just beautiful. It looks immaculate. The overworld is incredible and nostalgic and new and fresh all at the same time. And the music is that final piece that really just puts it all together for me, that makes it so memorable. It is just man, I could go on and on and on and on about this game and why it's my game of the year so far. And you know what? I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult for any game to top this. Very difficult. This is a game that doesn't come around that often, and if you have not played it, I highly recommend that you do. Please play this game. It is worth your time. I've even heard and seen people talking about it who aren't RPG or turn-based fans or JRPG fans, whatever it may be, and they're playing it and enjoying it. It is that good, and it's so nice to have a game like this come around where you're like, this is why I enjoy the medium. This is why this is an art form. This is why it captures my imagination, and this is a perfect example of this in so many ways. I cannot stress enough how just immaculate this game is, and how it'll make you just think and almost kind of like get your creative juices flowing too, just seeing what this team of 30 people put together, created. And yeah, I can just go on and just ramble on and on about how great this game is, but if you haven't played it, I know physical copies are really hard to get a hold of right now. If you want a physical copy, just hold out, you'll definitely get one. But definitely make room for this on your calendar, clear out your backlog, do whatever you got to do, but this is a absolute must play, and very well my game of the year, unless something completely blows it out of the water, which is a very hard thing to do, then this is it for me. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in the next video.